Well, good morning everyone, Ian from DIY Home and Gardening. 16th of July. Things are starting to grow. Must be all the rain we've got. But is everything growing as it should be? Let's turn the camera around and have a look, shall we? So I've literally just come up here. Had about 4 loads worth of manure dropped up here a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Unfortunately not been able to move much of it because did my back in and had some stomach issues which turned out to be a hernia. So not really been up here that much, to be honest, but thought I'd obviously show you before I start doing any work up here as to how things are going. So you can tell really how wet it's been for this time of year by the fact that the rhubarb is looking much bigger than it has done for the early part of this year. Sunflower's starting to get up a little bit as well. The artichokes just loaded with flower, and you can see that middle one there just starting to pop into a bit of colour. Said previously, I have no idea what I'm doing with regards to artichoke, but always like them. Previous house I just had it planted as a feature plant. Yeah, no idea what I'm supposed to do with them. I know they've gone over too much for harvesting on certainly the bigger ones, but this year just thought I'd let them do their thing. So came up here last night, tried to do a little bit of tidying up, whipped out the last of the perpetual spinach from last year. Just noticed, yeah, look at that. That's sort of the larvae, if you like, of the ladybird. They're the ones that just devour aphids like crazy, so they're the good guys. And tidying up the chili pepper plant. Salvia's looking good. Tomato getting some size, fruits developing with some trusses. Last remaining melon not going to develop to anything, I don't think. It's been devoured. So I came up here last night, got this bed done, mulched, manured. So we'd pulled the last of the radish a few nights ago, so they're all gone. So what remains in here, I just noticed these actually, don't know how I missed them last night. So that's the beans hestii, which you can see plenty of flower forming, so they still keep doing their thing. This is the mini pop corn, or mini pop sweet corn, whatever you want to call it. The chickpeas, so still no idea what they're supposed to be doing, but we'll see. There is a tomato plant amongst the parsnips. Parsnips are absolutely going crazy. You can see there's plenty of aphid coming on those as well. So hopefully the ladybirds will start doing their thing. Carrot seedlings. Finally germinated. Now it's gone wet. Probably just want to pull some of these leaves out of the way to give them a bit more space and light. So got beetroot block there, a little bit of dahlia. We pulled a load of these peas the other day, they were really good. So under here had a bit of a clear out. All the pak choy had bolted, so that's all gone. Pulled a few of the kohlrabi, beetroot. They're probably getting close. Yeah, some decent-ish ones there. This netting stayed on because, well, to be honest, the pigeons were still around, but as you can see, the perpetual spinach, definitely need to be picking a bit more of that, and the cabbage. This bed here, this is the one that got replanted back again for the elephant garlic. Did some sowings across the top just of some radish. They're starting to sprout along with a few weeds. And last night I began on this bed, which I think has kind of messed my back up a little bit for this morning. So let's get rid of that. This had the Egyptian walking onions in it, and quite a low level of soil, as you can see. So what I started doing was really topping it up with manure, and actually last night I left it so that it was level with the top, so you can see just after the torrent of rain last night that it's really compacted down. So what I do, same as all the other beds, fill it right up with manure or whatever. So you can see there, that's the perpetual spinach that I'd pulled from the first bed. So put a bit of green waste in here, obviously as long as it's not contaminated. So some green waste, manure, and then I then put the soil as a capping over the top. And this bed won't be today, but this bed will be ready for doing a bit of planting in the next, well, by the end of the weekend. I would probably do a little bit each day on the weekend. Swiss chard, started picking that, so that's looking big. The intercropping of turnips, not looking so big. In fact, looking almost non-existent. Mostly been eaten. A few signs. So we come to this bed. The Allotment cabbage looking good. Needs to really get in there and pull a couple of those, thin them a bit. Well, look at this red Russian kale's gone absolutely crazy. 12 plants in there. Yeah, next year I don't need to plant 12 plants in there, not in a small space like that. Can't even really see the leeks that are under that canopy. Yeah, again, got the Cavolo Neros in here. Got the netting over the top still, just to try and stop the whitefly that normally attacks it at this time of year. It's going to happen. I know it's going to happen, but equally they're getting a bit enclosed, so I might need to take this cover off, do a bit of weeding in there, whip out these nasturtiums and the thistles, check on how the onions are doing, and then put the cover back down. So I'll just show you this. So again, this is where I'd planted the melon plants. No idea if they're still alive because the nasturtiums have taken hold. I think it's probably fair to say that they're not, but yeah, at least this will act as a nice say companion planting, and hopefully drawing over some of the aphids to this area, and you know, the annoying bugs to this spot, just keep them here as opposed to on the food. Compost bins filling up nicely. Pulled the last of the garlic week ago. Yeah, a week ago that are in this trough. So all that remains now in this trough is my Jerusalem artichoke, which as you can see is growing up rather nicely as a bit of a screen. Don't know if there's any bud formation as yet. Let's have a look. No bud formation as yet, but this is going to look pretty spectacular once it comes into flower. Now into the shed, it is looking messy, but finally cleaned up all the garlic last week. So soft necks all been done a while. These are the hard necks, sort of a real mixed bag on those. Some good, some not so. Mostly not so. I was hoping that they would be better than the soft necks. I mean, they typically a hard neck is going to be a bigger size, or should be a bigger size than the soft neck, and the fact they're in the ground for about a month longer, I was expecting that they would be more like that than that, but it's just been too wet. This lot, well, this is what I picked last night. So these are the Egyptian walking onions. So it's the top element of it. And these here are the bulbils that form on top of the stem and have bent over. You can see how they bend. So need to get those planted, as they are really sort of a perennial, so I need to get those planted. And then these bulbils, I'll then set some of those out into seed trays, bulk up the numbers a bit. So let's have a continue. So it's not all bad, because the wet weather has really helped these pumpkins settle in. Last year was a hell of a job to get them to get going, but as you can see, they've got going pretty well. So these are the two giants, or potential giants, if they do anything, and that is, I suppose, the concern, and certainly amongst a lot of growers, the concern is this wet, cool weather, perfect for getting some growth on the actual plants, but it's not really encouraging them to put any flower on. You can see there's a bit of flower, and what we're finding is that they're putting out plenty of male flower, but no female flower. So it's the female flower that actually will then produce the pumpkin. So that could be a problem. We might end up with an absolute load of foliage and nothing to show for it. Sweet peas looking good. A little bit of deadheading still to do. Lifted or pulled the last of the broad beans, really, so that these had somewhere to get to. Under this mess is the second early potatoes. So given that we've now gone through all our first earlies at home, this is again something else that needs doing. Hopefully a weekend job with a bit of help, just try and preserve the back. So yeah, amongst here there's the 3 varieties, I think. Oh, a token pumpkin forming. Look at that. Well, I never. Oh, and another one over there. So I think this might actually be zombie, so we shall see. Such lovely flowers on the Welsh onions, really good. This bed here, so this was, I can't remember if this was done like this for the last video or not, but this was where the hardneck garlics still were, and I'd planted this lot previously, which we'll get to, and then really from here downwards is where hardneck's still occupied. So I've planted really late this fennel. I'm not sure whether it's going to do much or whether it just goes straight into bolting up, because well, like I say, I've planted it far later than I've ever planted it, you know. So planting into July, normally I'd be planting that well, about mid-May. So yeah, we shall see. But very spindly plants, but just needed to get them out. And then what I've been doing, so July is always a crucial time that people forget about, to be honest. You know, I think everyone's so busy concentrating on what they can harvest, you know, the garlics and the broad beans and all of that stuff, and picking beetroots and everything, that you forget that if you don't do some more sowing, there'll be nothing to harvest later on. And so July is a really crucial month for being on the allotment and grow your own. It's all about succession planting. So getting that seed in, getting the plants in, so that you're going to have something to lift and harvest and eat later in the months. So what I've decided to do though this year is I've been quite ruthless in my purchasing of seeds. And so this July, what I've done is I've been using the odd pockets of space, you know, like this bit, like over there, it will be over there as well, to help me get through some of the older seed packets that I've got in my box at home, and just try and work my way through them. try and have a cleanse, so that actually by the time it gets to buying some seeds at the end of this year, I can buy some stuff that I really do enjoy. So what I've done is I've done a couple of rows of lettuce all year round. There's a couple of blocks of spring onion in there, and then there's some bull's blood beetroot, which isn't really a beetroot. It doesn't form a a root zone. It's more for leaf, but I've done that as a block in there. Let me show you what else we've got actually. But well, we'll come to that in a minute. So then got the tomatillos looking good. Need to get this cover off and do some weeding, but the Utah celery looking good. Really need to sort of weed and mulch around those. Leeks are getting some decent size to them for this time of year. I'm really happy with how they're getting on. You can see that's the intercrop there of some radish. The golden self-blanching celery, again looking a good size, just needs to mulch around. And another block of beetroot. Let's quickly divert up to here. So when I say about using up stuff, I've got moscata beans still to use up, beetroot, 3 packets of pak choi, spinach, spring onion, this lettuce mix, DT brown mix, more kohlrabi, well the Swede actually won't be, but more radish and loads more beetroot. And so that's sort of my aim, is to potentially use up all of that lot, which will certainly improve the amount of cropping that we get this year, but also will help, I just think, to make things a little bit easier for next year, a bit more organised, and say just growing things that I generally want to grow. Dahlias, so this bed here has been mulched, and these through the middle here, I actually thought I'd do a bit of a companion or cover crop, if you like, of some beans, which are those moscata beans that you saw in the shed. So just beans act as a nitrogen fixer anyway. I don't know whether that actually help the dahlias at all, but it certainly adds to the amount of, well, give me some edibles alongside some flower. You can see that not all of them have come up. Got a few dahlia trying to produce some flower, that's no good. So dahlias have had their second tie on. They've been stopped a week ago now and fed, so just starting to put some bulk back on, and they're hopefully start putting on some decent growth. Plenty of strength in there. And give plenty of cut flower. So look, all that standing water. Three Sisters bed, so I've been picking quite a lot of courgette already from here. You know, there's plenty coming. Yeah, plenty coming through there. Sweet corn. I feel there's a little bit of development within the cob. Certainly you can see some good development here. So on these larger ones, you need to wait until these tassels have gone properly brown before they're ready. On the mini pops, you pick them once the tassels are emerging and just starting to change their coloration. If you wait till they're brown, and they're no good. So that's the Soleil. We've had quite a few of those as well. Yeah, you can see how much is coming. Plenty of aphid, which is fine. It's not really, well, it's not going to affect the flower at all, but it gives the ladybirds something to get into. Yeah, there's plenty more, and hopefully get plenty of breeding going, and some more ladybird activity. My thought is that I'm going to sow some wildlife friendly seed mixes along the boundaries, just really try and improve what's coming on what's here. So within there, they're the Muscata beans that were sown in this bit, so they're quite small, but I've been picking quite a lot of velour. So this is velour, amazing colour, and when you cook it, it then goes almost a fluorescent green, so it's really lovely, but looks great like that, and actually you can eat it like that. It's very tasty. Can't remember the variety in this, but these are the little Toscan type ones, the ball ones, so I've had quite a few of those. They start off small, that's still small like that, and to be honest, need it when it's well, much bigger. Can't really think of a sizing. So, and this one, this is a really out of hand bed. Niece is obviously doing well, they're doing their thing, not really attracting too many pollinators, I'll be honest. First flower and potential fruit of butternut squash. The beans are, well, kind of got up, not as much as I'd hoped, but you know, at least they're getting going. I genuinely can't remember which variety this was that was here. Process of elimination, can't think. No, I generally can't think what the squash is. Did a couple of random plantings of the red Russian kale. They've taken hold. The little tagetes, somewhat been overrun now, and one giant tomato plant there. Let's see what that does. Tromboncinos, starting to get some size on them. Pulled one of the fruits the other day just to see what it's like, because it is a courgette, so you can use them when they're small. It's just obviously they're nice to grow when they're, or nice to see when they're absolutely massive, but you can see that it's absolutely got laden with fruits on those. Whatever the tomato is there. What is that? Oh, Burpee's long keeper. So got a bit of flour, nothing else. I've had a real problem this year. I've got a new marker pen, and as you can see, it's meant to be permanent, but it really isn't. So that's Yuki Curies there. So that means that that block there must be Turk's Turban. But, oh yeah, definitely Yuki Curie, yep. Oh yeah, there's loads of them. There's that, they're looking good. So yeah, could have plenty of Yuki Curies this year. Don't know whether we have much Turk's Turban. Can't see any forming. Oh no, there's one. See how, let's pull that off. Juvenile stage, so it ends up looking like it's split. It isn't. So if you're growing Turk's Turban, don't remove it if it looks like that. That's how it's supposed to look. So you end up with this outer bowl shape, and then essentially like the hat, if you like, hat appearance. And when it develops like this big bowl with the top. So hence the name Turk's Turban, and that's how it will grow. There's some more flour in there for butternut squash. And so yeah, that is the mid-monthly update for the plot. So I'm going to do a little bit of tidying up here, and yeah, then we go back home. But you can see there's a hell of a lot of tidying up wants doing. Too much for my back though. Hopefully, as I say, get some help at the weekend. Okay, back at home, hopefully before it rains. Colouring up quite nicely. Still need to get a cover over them to stop the birds eating them all, but definitely a very good crop. So they've really benefited from the rain this year. Oh, dog's wanting to play. A singular pear is still there. Have thinned out some of the apples, but you can see there's a lot of weight now pulling these branches down, so that's going to be a job come the winter time, just to reduce some of that load on some of these front branches. If I could be bothered, I'd tie it up, but I can't. But oh, there's that one there's got a bit of bruising to it, so might as well whip that off anyway. Let's get back up here. Figs starting to get a bit of size on, as are all those lemons. Need to thin those out a little bit. Need to harvest the last couple on there. That canna's just starting to pop. Cut back the gooseberry bush. It was well, the gooseberry sawfly had presented itself anyway, which is a little caterpillar, so I pulled them off, cut it back, and that should promote some additional growth. It's worth mentioning that gooseberries fruit on wood that is 2 to 3 years old, so when you're doing your pruning, retain some of this year's pruning, or this year's growth, and then that will then bear fruit in subsequent years. The fresh growth doesn't bear the fruit. So greenhouse, I mean, just ridiculously overgrown. You can see there's a little bit of powdery mildew creeping in. Have sprayed it using a mixture of SB Invigorator and some seaweed extract, see if that helps. Had some of the Japanese cucumbers already, but still got a decent sized one on there. Plenty coming, and all the others. Strawberries are looking decent. We've had a few, not many, not as many as the birds. Tomatoes, they've had feed, but they're just not producing as they normally would do. But that again is just because it's been so wet. You know, that is the rainwater from the last 2 nights, which is just crazy. That has gone blackened again, and that is the well, it's more or less a blossom end rot, but that's gone all the way through, and that's down to the roots being too wet rather than the calcium element. So it's kind of one and the same, but it's more because the roots have been so wet they can't then allow the nutrients to flow correctly. Tomatillos looking big. No idea what they're supposed to be doing, but it's looking big anyway. Got some fruits forming now on a few of the peppers. For some reason that tomato has not looked happy from day one. It's always looked washed out. Don't know why, but yeah, all the other peppers, as I say, they're all looking decent. So getting some fruits forming now. Some decent sized ones coming. But above all else, we just need some more sun and some more warmth to get it all going. And I just don't know if that's going to be happening. Certainly the weather forecast is not looking promising. Okay, that's it. That's the mid-monthly update done. A few things looking good. More the things back here at home that are struggling, to be honest. But it is all just so dependent on what the sun's doing. And until that comes out for a bit longer, we're going to struggle, I think. So the dog's come to have a nose again. So as always, if you've got any questions, please send them to me. I'll do my best to answer them for you. If you like what I'm doing, then please subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit that reminder button so you don't miss out on future videos. And above all else, just enjoy yourself, have fun, and weather permitting, get out and, well, unwind. Till next time, bye for now.